Baker Mayfield finishing as a top 5 candidate in the MVP race this season.
Give me a whole bottle, taking every bit of it. Not even a thought. I mean, I'll give it away. I'm going to give it away now. I have Baker Mayfield winning MVP this year.
This is going to sound like so much hate, and I swear it's not.
Welcome to the Warner Brothas Podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle, joined by Timmy, joined by Brandon. This is a continuation of the Shot, Sip, Piss, NFC, AFC, all of the divisions content that we're coming out with. We're doing divisions right now, and we're doing the NFC South to start it off. And Kyle did a random order of what teams we're going to get here. We're going to just start off here with Timmy. Timmy, what is your statement? And we're going to give a shot, piss, or sip on what Timmy's statement is. Timmy, you go.
I have the New Orleans Saints, the most hype franchise of the year, I think. Most people would agree. They have announced that Rattler is going to be their starting QB. Kellen Moore, I trust you, I guess. My statement is just Tyler Shuck will not start a single game this year.
Oh, shucks.
I am running away from the bar. I'm just getting out of there because he will start a game. I don't think Rattlesnake has the ability to hold the job for 17 weeks. I also don't know if he's going to be able to be healthy with the offense not being able to really generate anything. And it's not even that the offensive line's terrible, because there are a couple pieces on the offensive line. It also just happens to be it's going to be 3rd and 18 often, or 3rd and 11, and it's just going to be pin your ears back and go get him. So, I obviously don't wish injury on anybody. I hope he goes there, and honestly, I hope he flourishes. I have nothing against Spencer Rattler, not at all. But I'm just running out of the bar for that, because I just don't think that the Saints are going to keep the same starting quarterback for 17. And they're going to give the rookie a shot at 1 point.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Keenan on that. I do want Spencer Rattler to work out. I think he's got talent. I just don't know if his whole college escapade has kind of ruined him. But I do think at some point they're just going to kind of be like, hey, let's see what we have. And Tyler Shuck, play him 1, 2, 3 games. I mean, if they use a 4th or 5th round pick on him, then I probably wouldn't see him starting. But since they invested a 2nd round pick in him, I think he'll end up probably making his way on the field for a couple starts.
Want a quick fun fact before you go, Kyle. So Micah Parsons, 26 years old. Tyler Shuck is 25.
Yeah.
I think he turns 26 in September. So he's the same age as Micah. It's a really fun thing. It's just a fun fact that when Tyler Shuck was in college, Lamar I think was still in college. I think Lamar was a senior when he was
he was at Oregon.
Yeah, it's insane to think that the 2-time MVP, the guy who we firmly believe has the ability to go to Canton,
will go to Canton at this point.
We'll go to Canton. I still want to defer from that, but we'll go to Canton at someday. And yeah, just go on.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a good question because it's a hard team to form a question or a statement for, because there's not much going on there. So for Rattler to start all 17 games, not only is he staying healthy, but that means he's playing well in a competitive division, which means this is at least a 7-win team. If I'm saying yes, he's gonna play all 17 games. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom on this. He's either gonna get injured or have a couple bad games. Which, I mean, in theory, I guess he could get subbed out and just not be benched for a game. But I think at some point he will start a game. I do think, however, the Saints are going to be more competitive than what the population at large thinks. And the crazy thing is, I think I mentioned this prior, if Kellen Moore is a good coach at all, who the hell knows? You just never know. We've seen rosters that we've all deemed shit who are either firmly in the playoffs or at least in contention for the playoffs. We've seen crazier things happen, and there's a lot of vets on this team. a lot of impactful vets on this team. And yeah, I don't think Rattler's garbage. Like, I think he at least looked okay, looked promising in some of his starts. And shit, look at Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams looked horrible in some games last year. Obviously, the offensive line wasn't good, but, you know, that level of quarterback can have a bounce back from year 1 to year 2. Why can't Rattler? But I don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, playing devil's advocate, why couldn't it happen for the Saints? So I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 7-win team. I'll go ahead and give you my my win-loss for them. I actually have them at 4-13 because they do have a tough schedule, but there is a world. So, yeah.
All right. I'm just going to quickly say they're 2-15 and the worst team in the league. Brandon, you're good.
I got 3-14.
3-14.
I'm actually going to sip this just a little bit. They have no reason not to play him 17 games. They want the number 1 pick. They could just say, fuck it, we're going to lose every single game this year. I don't care. It's not like he's going to be in the league in 2 years, so it doesn't really matter if he puts out bad tape. Nobody's expecting them to be good. And if all he does is walk out there and dump it off to Alvin Kamara, job well done. Good job. So they're going to be bad. I got them at 4-13. I do agree with Kyle. I think they are going to surprise a couple teams. They usually play the division pretty tough. So I think there will be one game later in the season where they play like the Bucs or the Falcons that everybody's like, yeah, they're 9-point underdogs and they're going to win by 2 touchdowns or something like that. So, but I think this is still going to be a bad football team. I don't think I actually have them the number 1 overall pick, but oh no, they're tied for it. So I don't know what the tiebreaker would be, but yeah.
No, they're confidently my number 1 pick. That's right.
Yeah, they're also mine too.
Hey, you know what? Good for them. Get New Orleans someone. Get New Orleans somebody. They can have fun down there. Superdome. Alrighty. Next would be me. Hey, I had the Carolina Panthers, and my statement for the Carolina Panthers is the Panthers will be above 500 at the end of the season.
I can
Timmy?
sip it.
Oh, you go. Timmy's face got me.
Yeah, I can sip it. I think I even made the case like right after the season or the end of last season that, you know, the Panthers could be live for winning the division. I just don't have too much faith in their defense. Yeah, Bryce Young played well at the end of the season, but weird things happen at the end of the season, as we know. Especially like once you get past Thanksgiving, you can almost toss up anything that happened the first 12 weeks because weird shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Bryce Young's going to be better. I do think he's going to be good. And again, I'll take a sip of it. There's definitely a world, especially if Michael Penix gets injured, Carolina would be next in line, especially if we all think the Saints are going to be the bottom. They would be the next right there. And the South, I mean, we shit on it, especially like this whole decade. I think we've shit on the NFC South because it's been a joke of a division. That being said, every one of those teams plays each other tough, no matter what the teams are. So weirder things have happened. Like I said, I don't necessarily have them above 500. I actually have them at 7-10. Actually, I think I have them at 8-9 because they actually do have a favorable schedule. 8-9, I have them at. So I have them just under 500. So yeah, I definitely got to take a sip of that if I got them 1 game under.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to take a sip as well too. I think they're going to be competitive. I think the main thing, it depends on Bryce Young and like his development. With that being said, I love what they have around them. With the running backs, I think they have 2 really good running backs. I think they have a pretty good receiving core. I think the biggest thing is going to be Ted McMillan and then Xavier Legette, like taking a step forward.
Yeah.
I think the defense could be decent. There's like a lack of a top tier pass rusher on the defense. So I could see that being a problem, but I think their secondary should be good. Yeah, I mean, I could see like if Bryce Young comes out and if Bryce Young plays like he did at the end of the season last year, then like I could definitely see that being. I could see him being maybe in contention for a wild card. I have them at 7-10. I think there's a couple of toss-up games on the schedule, and I just don't know if I'm ready to give them wins in some of those games.
Fair.
I will also take a sip. Nobody getting tipsy tonight. I think this team is going to be pretty competitive.
Everybody in the club getting tips.
it is going to be a competitive team, and I think Bryce Young will definitely take a step. I really like Ted McMillan. I think that's going to be a huge piece in him leveling up this year. So with that, I think they're just going to be a better offense, but this defense was historically bad. Did you know that they actually let up the most points in NFL history last year, which
Actually did not
an
know
extra
that,
game
which is
that
crazy.
kind of gets you there, but they were actually statistically one of the worst teams in football ever defensively. So I think they will be
Gotta
much
go up
improved.
from there.
Exactly. They're going up. So if their defense just plays okay, they automatically win 2 more games. So I actually have them at 6-11. So I don't have them as above. That's why I'm not taking a shot, only taking a sip here. It would not surprise me if they squeaked out 2 or 3 more games though and got to that 500 mark. So
I think we're all in agreement here with that. It's a sip for me as well. Before I was with Kyle too, like at the end of the season, I was drinking a little bit of the Panther Kool-Aid, and I was like, I think this team definitely could be competing for like a low-key division contender, but definitely trying to compete for a wild card team. Kind of like how we feel about the Patriots and how like they are live for a wild card team, but being one of those like 7th seeds. I also have them at 7-10. I think that their schedule, there are some tough stretches in it that you kind of just lean like, I don't know if I trust them yet. But I also do think, as Timmy said, Ted McMillan, I do like Ted McMillan a lot. I think he's one of the top 10 picks, especially offensively. We usually talk about a lot of them. Like, he's one of those top 10 picks that we really haven't talked about. And a lot of it's because of the Shador coverage, because like we haven't really talked about Cam Ward much. We talked about Dub Carter, obviously, because people are like, oh yeah, that's Micah 2.0. So like that's going to obviously percolate. But like, there are a lot of players in this draft we haven't spoke on because of the whole Shador saga and everything around it. And then obviously, honestly, and then you throw in there, okay, so we have Matt Stafford's back. We think the Rams could be a contender. That's interesting. Trey Hendrickson's not getting paid by the Bengals. He led the league in sacks like year. That's interesting. Micah Parsons just got traded, and he was in a saga all summer. So, like, those stories overtake it. So then some of these top rookies, like Ted McMillan, outside of Panthers lore, is not really getting spoken on. He was not really even heavily spoken on last year in college. Like, he wasn't even the most talked about receivers. Like, that was Jeremiah Smith and Ryan Williams. Like, he's your most talked about receivers, kind of. And then from there, even people like Matthew Golden, to me, I heard more national news, but that's also because Matthew Golden plays for Texas and they're on the national stage more so. So,
yeah.
7-10 for the Panthers. I think that they're an interesting team and they could compete for a wild card if everything went perfect for them.
Yeah, it's as simple, honestly. If Bryce Young take his last 7 games, whenever he came back, if he takes even a half step forward, and that defense can put pressure on anybody, if they can at least create turnovers, they could be right there.
Yep, absolutely. They will compete in division games, as we said. Even when Brady was there, and the Bucs were still they would lose to the Saints once, if not twice, every year. That was with Drew Brees there for the most part. Falcons played them tough, and the Panthers played them tough. So didn't matter who was there. The Panthers still played them tough. But Brandon, we move on to you. What was your team?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
I had a couple of different directions I was going to go with this, but I had a very interesting one that just popped up in my head probably about 5 minutes ago, and that is Baker Mayfield finishing as a top 5 candidate in the MVP race this season.
Give me a whole bottle, taking every bit of it. Not even a thought. I'll give it away. I'm going to give it away now. I have Baker Mayfield winning MVP this year. So
whoa.
So,
all right.
yeah.
All right.
So, that should probably let you know. We'll talk about what I feel about the Bucs here soon. But
the 16-1 Buck, man.
Give me the fit. Not exactly, but give me the fit. Just give me the whole bottle. Top 5 finish, absolutely. All he has to literally do, win a couple more games and do exactly what he did last year. Nothing different. Just do what you did last year. I understand Chris Godwin will be back at some point. Mike Evans, I know, is a year older. You do get a Mecca Ibuka. I think Bucky Irving can take a step up too as well. So, yeah, no, give me the whole 5th. Taking it all.
People call that the Duke Bird. Shouts to Duke.
Yeah, no, Duke taking tequila like it is this.
Like a bottle of water.
Like it is just a bottle of agua. Golly. But Baker Mayfield finished top 5. Yeah, give me the whole 5th. Absolutely.
I think I'm just going to take a sip here. I think regression is going to happen for him. Like statistically, last year was far and away his best season. I don't think he's going to be in that same vein next year. I think he's going to regress. You're telling me he would have to pull his best Josh Allen and just put the team on his back, spread the ball around everywhere. Not only is Chris Godwin hurt, sorry, I'm thinking of his name. Jalen McMillan is on 8 games at least of IR, so he's missing. Mike Evans is a year older, and K. Dotton is going to miss some time at the beginning of the season. So he's down to a rookie wide receiver and a 1-year older Mike Evans, who started to kind of look like he was on the way out last year, in my opinion. I think putting this much weight on his shoulders is going to hurt him negatively instead of positively. So I'm going to take a sip. I think he'll still be good. So a top 5 finish wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think he's going to be an MVP. Not quite as high as Keenan is on Baker this year.
Oh, I'm 100% there. 100% there. I've already bet it. So just so I doubled down. I already bet it.
That makes 2 of us.
Damn.
Oh,
Damn.
okay. What's up, Brandon?
That's a lot of Baker love. Look, the Bucs have earned my respect. First of all, I'm taking a sip of this because coming off Baker's last season, in my opinion, stepping into a better offense. Like Tim just said, they're banged up, but fully healthy. Like this is a problem on offense, given what they got in the backfield, given their stable of receivers. And Baker just seems to get better every year, more mature every year. They've earned my respect in the fact that like they seem to be every single team that's at their level or below. And then they're competing with every elite team. Like they will give any elite team a run for their money or straight up beat them. You wonder if they can keep that up for a 3rd straight season. But if they can, they like we talked about it, I think 2 weeks ago, Keenan, like they are the people's dark horse. Like they are the definition of a dark horse. Like you got an elite quarterback, we'll say. Like I think Keenan bet him for MVP, so I think we definitely could call him that. If you're getting MVP love from Brandon
we'll have our
and
QB
Keenan,
tiers coming out here real soon, and we'll see where I have him. I mean, also this is ranked pre everything I'm thinking, but like we'll see where he's
like to me, he's obviously not in that top 4. And wherever you have him in the top 10, he's firmly in the top 10. But one thing he's dependable now. Like he has such a firm hold on the offense. Like you can depend on them to put up at least 25. So
playoff wise, he has never shown up small. Like,
exactly.
Like even in some of the losses too. Like if you go back through, like I think he's had 1 playoff game. Other than that, he's really shown up in these playoff games.
For sure. So yeah, you got to take a sip. I'm kind of with Tim. I don't think he'll end up necessarily being in that top 5. You can almost shoe in Josh Allen and Lamar. So that's 2 spots taken up. Burrow obviously had a monster season last season too. And then who knows from the running backs, whatever. But you at least got to take a sip for sure.
And Brando's with me. Let's go.
So I'm joining Keenan on this one. We're going back to Coyote Ugly, baby. I'm getting on the bar and chugging the whole bottle.
Everybody!
Reference would have been
Two Coyote
shot
Ugly
out tonight, but
crazy.
it is.
Everybody! Yeah, let's go.
I think this offense can be way better than what it was last season. And the reason being is because I feel like a lot of people fail to realize that, like, at points during the season last year, like, Baker didn't have Mike Evans with the hamstring injury or Chris Godwin unless Godwin got hurt. It was Jalen McMillan and really, like, a bunch of, like, guys off the streets.
Sterling Shepard.
I think Emeka Ibuka. Yeah,
Sterling Shepard. Shout out Sterling. He's still there.
Yeah, I think Emeka Ibuka is going to be the best rookie receiver this draft class. Maybe even better than a guy here in Jacksonville named Travis Hunter, just because the fact that I think he's going to have a lot of them on his plate, but that's another discussion. Mike Evans is still like Mike Evans, I think he's still got it. Like, I'm not really worried about father time right now. Godwin will be back at some point. Tez Johnson, I think Tez Johnson's going to be a real player for them. I love Tez. I think he's pretty solid. Rashad White's still out of the backfield. Obviously, Bucky Irving. And I agree with what Kyle was saying. I think he has such a grasp on this offense. I really I think with the better supporting cast, especially if Ibuka is as good as what I think he can be. I think if he cuts down the interceptions, I think he had 16 last season. If that goes to 8 to 10, and if he creeps close to 45, 50 touchdowns, would be 5 more than what he had last season. Like, I think it's very possible.
We're
I
talking like
actually
Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady type numbers there.
like. I think it's extremely possible. Like unless they just say we're going run heavy. Um, I did like I put in a futures bet on it. Like I was just like, you know what, like one player like that I could see just like having an outside shot would be Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, fuck it, I'll throw 25 on that.
Yep. So, and I'm gonna bounce off of that because we'll get into records and just kind of go from there. I have the Bucks at 14-3 in my 1 seed. So, so here's the thing, and here's exactly why.
That's more than a dark horse, my boy.
Yeah, I mean, before it was a dark horse, and then what I did was I printed off the schedules and I went through every single team and everything. And they start off the year, and they do have some tough games early on. They do see San Francisco, they do see Detroit, they see Philly. But as Kyle said, they do play up to that competition. I don't think it's only going to be losses to all of them. They end the season. I mean, they have Buffalo there and they have the Rams there, but their last 9 games are the Saints, the Patriots, Buffalo, and the Rams, but then Arizona, Saints, Atlanta, Carolina, Miami, Carolina. Like a team, I mean, we know that the division's going to play them tough, but they're going to be favored in 90% of those games. Like that's like I think the Bucks have a real chance to compete with these. They as Kyle, I mean, we just all talked about it. Teams that are at their level or below, they typically do their job with. You have an offensive coordinator now in his 2nd season, and he did all this last year, so you have more consistency there. Todd Bowles is a real coach. I feel like he just doesn't get talked about like he should get talked about. Doesn't need to be talked about with Sean McVay's and them, but he is a very real coach who knows how to play and knows the system. That there's a lot of consistency there with the team, and then you're adding pieces into it. And then alongside, just for comparison's sake, for MVP wise too, your all-time greats win them. So you have Manning 5, Rodgers 4, Brady 3, Mahomes 2, Lamar 2, and now Josh has 1. But like your all-time greats win them. And then before it was running backs, and now every now and again you have that NFC South team that has a Cam Newton or has a Matt Ryan in a season where they're the 1 seed, they do well. Those 2 teams have gotten to the Super Bowl and they've lost to all-time great quarterbacks, one Manning, one Brady. But like you have this every now and again where you have a division that I think a team could take its hold of, 5 wins, 6 wins maybe within that division from there, and then you just have the talent around them. Because no one going into those years were like, yeah, Matt Ryan or yeah, Cam Newton's definitely winning an MVP, but they're all were like, hey, maybe they could.
My only regression for them, like my only point of regression that could happen for the Bucks, if you go through their schedule last year, they faced a lot of backup quarterbacks. That would be my only thing. I don't think there's any sort of world where they're not, on the bubble at least. I completely agree with you. You got them
100 at 9.5 wins. I already took that. I mean, that's a lot. But like, even if you don't feel like as strong as me, 10-7 plus money to get
that.
10-7. That really, they were 10-7 last year.
You're getting 2 wins with the Saints. You're getting 2 wins with the Saints. They've got a lot of favorable matchups to where it's just like, oh, it's at least going to be a track meet. And their defense should be better. They got a defensive coach. They're fundamentally sound. I actually got them at 11-6, and winning my division. So, I mean, I kind of gave away my Falcons thing there, but yeah, I got them winning the division. They're my dark horse in the NFC for sure. Like they're a quintessential dark horse. If they get injured at all, okay, throw it out the window. But as constructed, healthy with Todd Bowles, they could be anybody. And honestly, if they keep this same roster and they keep adding to it, one of these years it could happen for them. As long as Baker doesn't get injured or obviously get old, like it's one of these years it's going to happen.
They're either going to fall off or at some point they're going to have a run. Like there's like I think they're one of those teams that are going to have a year, and I just feel like this year is going to be their year. That's what I'm going down to. And as Brandon said, I do think they can deal with injuries because they have such a veteran quarterback. Like they can deal with if Mike Evans misses a couple games, like they can still generate offense. So, Timmy,
I have them this year at 10-7, so I'm a lot cooler than Keenan is on this team.
yeah,
I think they're going to be pretty similar to last year. They're going to be a good competitive team. I don't think they're going to go 6-0 in their division. I don't think they're going to go 4-2 in their division. I think it'll probably be a split 3-3. So, That's what I got. I still think this team can compete, though, with a lot of these juggernauts like the Ravens and whatnot. But I'm just not in on them. I just can't see it with how this roster has been constructed this year. Plus, Todd Bowles, people like to say he's a good coach. I remember Jets Todd Bowles. He was a bad coach. So maybe that comes back.
I think he's one of the better Jets coaches of the last 2 decades, honestly. It's like he's after
Rex.
Rex.
I think that's a place where people go to die.
Because I think the year they fired him, he went 8-8, which that's like 12 wins for the Jets.
So, they did have a good defense.
If you're not Rex Ryan, you're not winning really games with them. When he's taking Mark Sanchez to back-to-back AFC Championship games, which doesn't get talked about enough as insane. Mark Sanchez was 1 game away from a Super Bowl in back-to-back years. That's insane. Oh man.
Brent, did you say the record?
Sorry, go on.
Oh, it's my turn, right?
Yes, you.
Okay, yeah. So I have Tampa Bay going 13-4. I am a game shy of Keenan.
Let's go.
Like I said, I mean, I think the defense is going to be better. I think they're going to get some form of pass rush, either from Yaya Diaby or Hassan Reddick. Like I like that pickup. I think they're going to have a good secondary. I think Antoine Winfield was hurt for a majority of last season too, so they'll have him back healthy. He's one of the best safeties in the league. Again, the offense, I think once you get
me
Godwin
into this
back,
undefeated season,
I think once you get Godwin back healthy, I think once Godwin gets back healthy, whether it's week 6, whether it's week 7, week 8, I don't care. Emeka Ibuka at that point is going to be ramped up. Mike Evans is still going to be doing Mike Evans things. I think he hits another 1,000 receiving yards. Bucky, Rashad White, even Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker would play on a lot of teams. Super underrated. I think they have everything there. And I really I think Baker Mayfield is I think he's finally found his place. I think a lot of people kind of have always loved to hate on Baker Mayfield, and I love him shutting people up.
Tristan Wirfs also was activated from the PUP list a couple days ago too, which is big because that's obviously
he's still going to miss time. It's just they think they can get him back week 3, so it saves them.
Yeah, so I was going to say that's the more he can play, the better. But yeah, I know what you're saying. A couple weeks, they do start off against Atlanta, then they see the Jets in the first 3 weeks as well, and they have another game. They still have winnable games. They play Houston week 2. That one's going to be tough because obviously that Houston front's not a joke. But
they have, I think it's Seattle, and then there's another.
They have Philly, Seattle, San Fran, Detroit. So their first 6 to 7, that's where you could see some of where you'll see, I think, a majority of their losses. But I truly think that they can get on a 6-game win streak getting into the playoffs, in my personal opinion.
And they've been a second half team as far as the NFL season goes.
Yeah, so I just think that they'll go. I just think they can get into it and just go there and go into the bye and barely lose out coming out of the bye.
I have 13-4. I think they're my number 2 seed. I have Philly as my number 1. Tampa's my number 2, but I wouldn't be surprised at all either if Tampa was the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
I think they have all the talent in the world. I actually, now that I'm talking about it, I'm probably going to go in and just go ahead and I like to do it every year, a team that for a dark horse. I'm going to go ahead and throw a little prop on them for a Super Bowl future too. Why not?
Just to get there, why not? I mean, also putting there at the 1 seed, there's stuff there. There's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of bets that I'm
if they're plus, you said they're plus 900 for 9.5 wins.
No, sorry, they're plus 100 at 9.5.
Oh, okay, all right. I was gonna say
plus 900 at 9.5. Kyle, Vegas would be losing money. They would just be giving
$1,000 on that.
I'd be here.
That's
they'd be but plus 100 at 9.5.
Even money at 10 wins. So their Super Bowl odds, what are they? They must be between 8 and 12.
I think so. I can figure this out here.
My guess would be they're at 12.
Oh God, I can figure this out soon. But we went on there. So last but not least, Kyle, we have you, and we'd be the last team in the division, which would be the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes, I have the Falcons of Atlanta, and my statement's simple.
Baker Brothers in Atlanta.
This is the best team in the NFL that nobody's talking about. React.
I'll take a sip. Because I think like even teams like the Bucks, people are like, oh, they could be a little dark horse, but I would take a sip. I would think they would be up there. Other than that, like them, if obviously depending on how people feel about Minnesota, we could talk about them later on. And obviously they were a 14-win team last year, so we'll see kind of going from there. But them, Minnesota, someone talks about that possibly could do something. And other than that, I don't think there's too many, because like a little bit of the Chargers possibly, or a little bit of like the Houston Texans maybe, because people are kind of penciling them in, but they don't really talk about the Houston Texans at all. It's kind of just like, oh, they play in a bad division. So, but yeah, I would agree. I think I would take a sip of that for sure. I think they're an interesting team that has a lot of offensive pieces. It's just, can you finally put it together and remember that Bijan Robinson did really well in college, and just allow him to continue to do really well and give him the ball. And he's pretty good.
Yeah, I was. If you would have asked me this probably about a week ago, I probably would have told you, hey, like, give me the whole bottle on this. I'm going to take a sip as well, too. I'm concerned about their offensive line. They just lost Caleb McGarry. The offensive line is going to be shaky, very, very shaky. They had a top 10-ish unit. Now they're kind of projecting as like a 20 to 25 unit. With that being said, I think they have enough talent to get over that. If Michael Penix is the real deal, then like I'm not super worried about it, because he is mobile. He can step up in the pocket. I like their skill position groups. Like Drake London, I think is very good. Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, obviously Bijan, Tyler Algier, my boy Kyle Pitts. I think the defense is going to be pretty good too. Yeah, I could definitely take a sip of that. Like, I feel like there's not enough attention on the Falcons. I feel like there should be not a whole lot, but there should definitely be more.
Yeah. Also, still one of the biggest robberies in the entire world. Not robberies, but travesties in the world is the fact that Jesse Bates in Atlanta and not still in Cincinnati. Like, why aren't we retaining him? It's just one of the most idiotic things. Like, the defense would already be. They would have made the playoffs last year if they have Jesse Bates. Like, him alone, like, just ups their
Put him in center field. Yeah.
like they just ups their defensive coverage. Like, he is that good of an defensive player that, like, they're just in the play. Like, they win a game. I don't know.
All you do, Jesse, ball, go get it.
Like, I just think it's crazy that you're like, let's just let him go. It's like when the Thunder obviously had a plan, but it was like when they let Harden go, it's like, we can't do this couple dollars. Let him be an MVP in Houston. let him figure it out. But Timmy, you're good to go.
I could do a whole podcast on the Harden trade today. This is how passionately I still feel about that.
I know. It's so crazy. So crazy.
I'm also just going to take a sip of this. I think this team is super talented, but there are some things, we got Penix. Like, we can really look at this as Penix's rookie season. He only played 4 or 5 games last year. It might have been a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
But the offensive line gets a little bit worse. They're actually down to their 3rd string right tackle now. So that's actually really worrying, because that is Penix's blind side since he's a lefty. Hey, if we're going to put any money on anything, I might put money on Drake London to lead the league in receiving yards and receptions this year. I honestly think there is a chance that Drake London could triple crown this year. Penix targeted him really, really highly last year. So if that continues, and Kyle Pitts is just Kyle Pitts, then all the targets are going to go to London, and it's going to be a crazy year for him. So I will take a sip because of how talented this offense is. Can they put it together and look like a 2016, 2017 Falcons? I don't know. That's where I don't think so, but I can definitely take a sip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would take a sip of my own statement as well. I think reason why I said best team no one's talking about is because they have so much offensive talent. Like we've been saying, defense we don't really know about yet. They should improve. The pass defense was atrocious last year. They had 2 classics with Tampa Bay last year. Like, I can't wait to see those games. Thank God we get it week 1. Thing is, I mean, honestly, going into the season, I almost feel the same way about the Falcons as I did last season with Kirk Cousins. Like, they could win the NFC South or shit could go bad. We talked about last week. We talked about how injury prone Tua is. Penix is probably more injury prone than Tua himself. So I mean, there's a world where like the Falcons, like, what if he goes down week 4 and then you got to throw Kirk Cousins back in there, which actually isn't that bad of a consolation, honestly, even though he's a tremendously paid backup. But they're too talented to be bad. I actually have them at 9-8. I think they're going to be a fun watch. I actually think this is finally the year for Kyle Pitts that we see him like actually make an impact. We've seen it here and there. We've never seen it for a full 17 games, but I think this is the year with Penix. And again, if he does happen to miss, let's say Penix misses like 2-3 games, Kirk Cousins really isn't a bad option as far as that goes. 8 games or a whole season, if Penix goes down, then, shit gets bad. He has no arm strength left if he looks like he did last year towards the end.
Bijan's catches up and just bet the over every week. He'll do the Drew Brees with Kamara or the Big Ben with Najee. Najee, that's a slept on thing for Najee. It's so many catches because Big Ben said 1-2 dump off.
That's exactly
so many catches his rookie year. So many. So many.
Yeah. I couldn't get to 10 wins for Atlanta. I think they'll be above 500. There's so many 50-50 games on their schedule, and they're such a dome team. Like, I don't have them faring well outdoors unless it's sunny. So I think they're going to be right in that 8-9, 9-8 range for me. Could they get to 10 wins? Of course, they very well might, but I got them at 9-8 firmly because of so many question marks.
You couldn't get them to 10. I could. I have them 10-7. I actually have them as my 7th seed in the playoffs.
There we go.
Originally, I had it as Washington, but then I had Washington losing the last week of the season to the Eagles. Put the Eagles at 12-5, Washington at 9-8. And now the Falcons sneak in at 10-7. But you're right. This could be a 7-10 team again. They always seem like, at worst, they always feel like they could be a 5-win team. At best, like an 11-win team. And they always find their way just to be like a 7 or 8-win team every year. It just seems like their talent's too good for them to be low, but the way they do operate is just too, they just can't get there. But 10-7, I actually have them making the playoffs this year as my 7th seed.
I like it.
So I had them I originally was going to put them at like 11-6, 12-5. Mm-hmm. Like, I was very high on them. But the offensive line, I'm going to dump them down to 10-7. I think there's a little bit room for more wins.
Yeah.
Fumbling my words there. I think a tough schedule, obviously. I think the defense is going to be very improved. I think one of Jalen Walker or James Pierce is going to make a big impact from day one as a rookie. Don't know which one. I think AJ Terrell, obviously being there, Jesse Bates. I think the secondary should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, the offensive line still does have good players. Chris Lindstrom, Matthew Bergeron. Forget who the left tackle is, but he's relatively
Jake
decent.
Matthews.
Yeah, Jake Matthews. I think the offensive talent is enough to win them games, even if their defense doesn't show up. Yeah, I feel like 10-7. I feel like 10-7 and a 6 or 7 seed in the playoffs is a pretty good spot for them.
Mm-hmm.
I really expected to have them as my division winner this year. I think that they're improved from last year. I like Penix. I think he can be a good quarterback. But after plotting it out, I got them all the way down 8-9. I have them as the 11 seed, so not really even close. Last year, they were actually pretty close to making the playoffs, and then they kind of blew it away in the last 2 weeks. But
yes,
yeah,
they went into that. I think like Penix's first full start, that overtime game. I think they went into that, and if they would have won that game, they would have been the division leader after.
I think that game was against
Commanders,
Washington. I
yes,
think he started a week before, because I know he started against the Giants. That I think was his first real start.
Yeah, so that because they lost to Washington. That was one of the many games Washington won last minute.
Blew the game too.
Yeah, that was the weird timeout. Yeah, not taking
Ricky
a
Moore
timeout.
through the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think like those are the type of things that happens to Atlanta. It's like mini Chargers-ish, where it's like those are the little things that happen where you're like, it could have been in the playoffs, but this weird thing happened. This unfortunate thing happened to them until they missed. But cool. All right, so we all across the board have the Bucks as the 1 seed, Falcons as the 2 seed, Panthers as the 3, and the Saints as the worst team in the division. We all across the board have that.
Chalk.
And the only thing is, like, me and Brandon are just much higher on the Bucks than you and than Kyle and Timmy are. Other than that, we pretty much are aligned on everything within a couple wins. Even the Atlanta thing, Timmy has them at 8-9, but we only have them at 10-7. So only easily could happen. So
one thing I'm curious of, I don't know, and maybe I just didn't hear it. I think the three of us are aligned on the Bucks as a playoff team. Tim, how do you feel about the Bucks as a playoff team? You think they're a dark horse contender or
as a playoff team or a Super Bowl team?
Super Bowl team? Okay. Sorry,
because I definitely got them. I got them winning the division, so they're forced to be a playoff team. Sure. I think if Godwin comes back and looks good, yeah, I could definitely see him being a playoff or a Super Bowl team. Baker took a huge step last year. So even if he does step back a little bit, he's still going to be a very, very good quarterback. It's really just the depth for me. Wide receivers going down, tight end going down, Tristan Wirfs going down. I expect the defense to be Super Bowl good. It's just, can the offense stay healthy and get there? So I could definitely see a Super Bowl for them. I don't know if I would put any money on it the way these two guys up here have, but yeah.
Yeah. So basically, last thing I want to say on that real quick is, even if 14-3, obviously, I think would be their peak ceiling, even if you don't agree with it, whatnot. I do think, though, they're in a position to where, because of how soft the end of the season schedule is, they could really be one of those I'm streaking into the playoffs kind of team, like winning 4 or 5 in a row. Or like 5 of their last 6 kind of thing, even if they do suffer one loss. But
see, I think their schedule's kind of tough down the stretch. Not tough, but I think there's a couple games there.
And I mean, they have after Buffalo, it's the Panthers twice, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, and I think the Saints once. Like, true, I think they,
but I think I had the Cardinals being good, and I think at least if Tua's healthy, the Dolphins in a warm weather situation, I think that's at least.
So I think that one could be a fireworks game. I think that could be 35-28 kind of.
So I think there's at least some 50-50s there. And Panthers, like you said, you just never know with the NFC South, especially at that point in the season.
I think that there's live to do it. Go on.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, like I think the defensive talent, though, like especially in that Miami game, like I think there's one thing that Tampa Bay is going to be able to do that Miami just won't be able to, and that's going to be able to get stops on defense.
It's true.
Like,
very true.
So
yeah. And if a last drive, I'm trusting Baker over Tua. Like, I'm just not that Tua can't, and like he's in. Like, I mean, obviously he came in freshman, won a natty. Like, I mean, he did. Yeah, you have thrown him into a fire situation and him figure it out. Like, so he can do it. It's just
Baker came off the streets for the Rams.
Baker came off the streets yards to get to college. He came off. He's like, I'm a walk on, and then I'll win the highs. Like, I'm just a walk on, guys. And I'm gonna be the number 1 pick in the draft as a walk on. Like, that's crazy. But Warner Brothas Podcast, that was the NFC South. We all have it pretty much in lockstep, except for how good we think some of these teams are going to be. But placement of all the teams is going to be the exact same. It's kind of a chalk-ish division, one of the most in the league. But Warner Brothas Podcast, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all at Warner Brothas Podcast. We appreciate you guys very soon. If you haven't seen the other divisions, AFC and NFC West, AFC and NFC East, we have those out. We're going to be doing the South, and then we're going to be doing the North here very soon. Check all that out. Warner Brothas Podcast. We'll see you again soon.